Fire, imagine holding a tiny coin that could make you a millionaire. Some old, rare coins are worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars. Today, we're diving into the top 5 most expensive coins in history, from golden rarities to rare cents and dimes, each with incredible stories and jaw-dropping values. Stay till the end to see which coin is worth a fortune beyond your wildest dreams. The 1972 dime is part of the Roosevelt Dime series, which started in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt was famous for helping people fight polio, and the dimes were linked to the March of Dimes charity. By 1972, these dimes were no longer made of silver. Instead, they were made with a copper core and a thin layer of copper nickel on the outside. At first, that might make you think they are just ordinary coins, but that's where the story gets interesting. In 1972, the U.S. Mint made millions of these dimes. The Philadelphia Mint, which does not put a mint mark on its coins, made over 431 million dimes. The Denver Mint, marked with a D, made over 330 million. That's a lot of coins. Most of them ended up in people's pockets, cash registers, and piggy banks. But here's the catch: the dies they used to make these coins were not in perfect condition. The details on the coins, like Roosevelt's hair or the bands on the torch on the back, often came out weak or soft. This made most 1972 dimes look ordinary. But for coin collectors, that ordinary look is what makes the rare ones so special. You see, the majority of these coins are easy to find, but the ones with perfect details, especially on the torch on the back, are rare. Collectors call this the full bands variety. When a 1972 dime has full, sharp lines on the torch, it becomes much more valuable. Some of these coins can sell for hundreds of dollars, and in exceptional cases, even over $1,000. That's right, a dime that you might find in your change could be worth more than 1,000 times its face value if it is in perfect condition or has the right features. So how do you know if your dime might be one of those rare treasures? First, check the mint mark. If there's a D on the coin, it was made in Denver. No mark means it's from Philadelphia. Some coins were made in San Francisco with an S mint mark, and those can be special proof coins that collectors really like. Next, look closely at the back of the dime. The torch in the middle has several horizontal bands. If these bands are complete and sharply visible, you might have a full bands dime. This is one of the most important features collectors look for. Coins with weak, worn, or blurry lines are much less valuable. Condition is another huge factor. Even a rare coin won't fetch a high price if it is worn, scratched, or cleaned badly. Collectors want coins that look almost like they just came out of the mint. The more perfect the coin, the higher the price. Some of the most valuable 1972 dimes are uncirculated, meaning they have never been used as money. Some even come in special proof sets that were never meant for circulation. These coins can easily sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars. Errors and mistakes can also make a dime very valuable. Sometimes, coins are struck incorrectly at the mint. They might be off-center, have a missing feature, or have an extra piece of metal stuck on them. These errors happen by accident, but collectors love them. A rare error on a 1972 dime can make a coin that is usually worth just 10 cents suddenly worth hundreds or even more. That's why collectors always check coins carefully for mistakes. It might sound like finding a valuable 1972 dime is impossible because millions were made, but remember, most of those coins were ordinary and used every day. The rare, high-quality ones are much harder to find. That scarcity is what gives them value. You can think of it like a treasure hunt. Out of hundreds of millions of coins, only a small fraction are truly special. And if you find one, it could be a small piece of history worth a fortune. Even though most 1972 dimes are worth only a few cents or a couple of dollars at most, the few that are in perfect condition, have the full bands feature, or are proof or error coins can sell for hundreds, thousands, or even more. People pay these prices because collecting coins is not just about money, it's about history, beauty, and rarity. Imagine holding a dime that is over 50 years old, looking exactly like it did when it came out of the mint. That connection to the past is something money can't always buy. So next time you come across a 1972 dime, don't just glance at it and drop it into a jar. Take a close look. Check the mint mark, look at the torch on the back, and see if the lines are sharp and complete. Examine the overall condition of the coin. Look for any mistakes or odd features. Even if the coin isn't worth thousands, knowing whether it's a rare variety can be exciting. Finding a rare coin is like uncovering a hidden treasure that has been sitting in plain sight for decades. Many collectors go through boxes of old coins just to find one special 1972 dime. Some spend years hunting for full bands, examples or proof coins. And when they find one, the excitement is huge because they know they have something very rare. For you, the excitement comes from knowing that a coin in your pocket could be worth far more than you ever imagined. It could even be a start to building a collection that grows in value over time. In short, the 1972 dime is more than just a 10-cent coin. It's a small piece of American history, a collectible, and for some, a hidden treasure. While most of these coins are common and easy to find, the rare ones can be incredibly valuable. They can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars if they have the right features and are in great condition. The thrill of finding one is part of what makes coin collecting so addictive. So next time you pick up a 1972 dime, take a moment to examine it carefully. Check the mint mark, the details on the torch, the overall condition, and any errors. You might be surprised by what you find. That small coin could be a tiny window into history and, who knows, maybe even a treasure that is worth far more than you ever expected. Never underestimate the power of a small coin. The 1972 dime reminds us that ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value. A simple dime, often overlooked, could be the difference between a forgotten coin and a collector's dream. So keep your eyes open, inspect your coins carefully, and remember that treasure is often hiding in the most ordinary places. You never know, the next 1972 dime you see might just be your ticket to a piece of history and possibly a small fortune. The 1966 dime is part of the Roosevelt Dime series, which started in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. These dimes were originally made to support the March of Dimes charity, which helped people fight polio. By 1966, all dimes were made of a copper-nickel clad composition. That means they no longer contain silver, which they did before 1965. Most people thought they were just ordinary coins, but the truth is that some 1,966 dimes are anything but ordinary. In 1966, the U.S. Mint made a huge number of these dimes. Over 1.38 billion dimes were minted in regular circulation strikes. That's an enormous amount. Most of these coins ended up in people's pockets, cash registers, banks, and piggy banks. Because of this, a regular 1966 dime is very common. Most are only worth their face value or a few cents more if in good shape. But here's the exciting part: among all these millions of dimes, a small number are special. Some were made in special mint sets, SMS, which were never meant for general circulation. These coins were struck with extra care, giving them sharper details and a brighter finish. Some 1966 dimes from these sets, or even a few high-quality regular dimes, have become highly valuable to collectors. A coin in perfect condition or with special features can sell for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Imagine holding a coin that normally sells for 10 cents, and realizing it could be worth more than 1,000 times that. So what makes a 1966 dime rare or valuable? First is condition. Coins that have been worn, scratched, or polished usually stay close to face value. But uncirculated coins, those that have never been used and still have sharp edges, clear lettering, and bright details, are worth much more. Collectors are willing to pay big money for these perfect coins. Then there are special varieties, like the full bands dimes. On these coins, the bands on the torch on the back are fully visible and sharply struck. Because so many 1966 dimes were made with weaker detail, finding a full bands dime is rare, and rarity drives value. Another factor that can make a dime extremely valuable is errors or mistakes from the minting process. Sometimes coins are struck off-center, or the metal planchet has flaws. These errors were accidents, but collectors love them because they are unique. A 1966 dime with a notable error could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That's why collectors inspect coins very carefully, sometimes using magnifying glasses or even professional grading services, to spot these rare features. Even though most 1966 dimes are common and worth very little, the few rare ones can bring serious money. For example, a special mint set 1966 dime in top condition has sold at auction for over $1,000. Regular circulation dimes that are uncirculated or have full bands can also fetch hundreds. It all comes down to rarity and quality. The rarer and more perfect the coin, the higher its value. You might be wondering, how can I spot a valuable 1966 dime? Start by looking at the mint mark. Coins from Philadelphia have no mark, while Denver coins have a D. Some 1966 special mint set coins were made in San Francisco with an S mark, and these are highly sought after. Next, check the back of the coin. Look at the torch in the center. If the horizontal bands on the torch are crisp and fully visible, that is a sign of a full bands dime, which collectors love. Also, examine the overall condition of the coin. Coins that are shiny, with clear lettering, and no scratches or wear are far more valuable than dull, worn coins. Errors and unusual features can also increase value. Some 1966 dimes have minor mistakes, like off-center strikes, missing features, or extra metal marks. These mistakes make coins unique and collectible. Even small imperfections, if they are part of a rare error type, can raise a dime's value from a few cents to hundreds or more. That's why collectors always check coins carefully. One tiny detail can make all the difference. Collecting coins is exciting because it's a kind of treasure hunt. Out of millions of coins minted in 1966, only a few are special. Those few coins could be sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, or boxes at homes all over the country. Finding one is like discovering hidden treasure. Imagine realizing that a coin you almost tossed aside is actually worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. That's the thrill of coin collecting. Even if you don't find a rare coin, inspecting your old dimes is still fun. You can learn about history, the minting process, and how coins have changed over time. And if you ever do find a 1966 dime in excellent condition, with sharp detail or a rare variety, it could be a real treasure. Some coins from that year are already considered collector's items and continue to increase in value over time. So next time you pick up a 1966 dime, don't just glance at it. Check the mint mark, look at the torch on the back, and see if the details are sharp and crisp. Even a small coin can hold big surprises. That tiny 10-cent piece could be a hidden gem worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. The 1966 dime reminds us that sometimes ordinary things hide extraordinary value. Remember, treasure can be hiding in plain sight. A coin from 1966, almost forgotten, could be your next collector's prize. Don't overlook it. Examine it closely. The next dime you hold in your hand could be more than money, it could be a piece of history and a ticket to something truly valuable. The 1983 D dime is part of the Roosevelt dime series. These coins have been made since 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. They were first created to support the March of Dimes charity, which helped fight polio. By 1983, dimes were no longer made of silver. Instead, they were copper-nickel clad, which means they have a copper core and a layer of nickel on the outside. Most people didn't think much of them, but some 1983 D dimes are anything but ordinary. In 1983, the U.S. Mint struck over 730 million dimes at the Denver Mint. That's a huge number. Most of these coins went into circulation. They ended up in pockets, cash registers, banks, and piggy banks. Because of this, most 1983 D dimes are common and worth only their face value, maybe a few cents more if in slightly better condition. But here's the exciting part, not all 1983 D dimes are common. Some are rare. Some were struck with extra care, making them look sharper and more detailed than the coins that went into circulation. These special coins can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars if they are in excellent condition. So, how do you know if a 1983 D dime is valuable? First, look at the condition. Coins that are worn, scratched, or cleaned are usually worth nothing more than 10 cents. But uncirculated coins, those that show no signs of wear, are worth much more. Collectors love coins that look as if they just came out of the mint. The edges are sharp, the lettering is clear, and the surfaces are clean. If your 1983 D dime looks like this, it might already be more valuable than you think. Another important factor is the detail on the coin. Collectors especially look at the torch on the back. There are horizontal lines, or bands, across the torch. If these bands are fully visible and sharply struck, the coin is called a full bands dime. Most 1983 D dimes were struck softly, so finding one with full bands is rare. These coins are highly desirable and can sell for hundreds or even over $1,000, depending on the grade. Some 1983 D dimes are even rarer because of mistakes at the mint. Sometimes coins are struck off-center. Sometimes the mint mark is missing or misplaced. Other times, small flaws appear in the metal. These errors were accidents, but collectors love them because they are unique. A rare error can turn a dime that is usually worth 10 cents into a coin worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. That's why collectors examine coins carefully, sometimes with magnifying glasses or professional grading services. One tiny detail can make all the difference. Even if your 1983 D dime is not an error or full bands, condition alone can make it valuable. Coins graded at very high levels, like MS-65, MS-66, or even MS-67, can fetch big prices. The better the coin looks, the more collectors will pay. Some top-grade 1983 D dimes have sold for more than $2,000 at auction. That's incredible for a coin that most people pass by every day without a second thought. So, while most 1983 D dimes you find in circulation are common and worth only face value, a small number are very special. They might be from a special mint set, they might have full bands, or they might even have mint errors. Any of these factors can increase the coin's value dramatically. That's why collectors hunt through boxes, jars, and rolls of coins to find these hidden treasures. One ordinary-looking coin can turn into a collector's dream if it has the right features. The thrill of collecting coins comes from this possibility. Out of millions of coins minted in 1983, only a few are truly rare. Finding one is like discovering hidden treasure. Imagine picking up a dime you thought was worth 10 cents, examining it, and realizing it could be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. That's the excitement. That's why coin collecting is addictive. If you want to know whether a 1983 D dime you have might be valuable, start by checking the mint mark. Coins with a D are from Denver. Then look closely at the back. Examine the torch and the horizontal bands. Are they clear and sharply struck? Check the coin's overall condition. Is it shiny, with no wear, scratches, or dull spots? If so, you might be holding a rare coin. Even small mistakes can make a coin more valuable. Some 1983 D dimes have errors or unusual features that collectors look for. These could include off-center strikes, missing mint marks, or extra metal spots. A single coin with a rare mistake could be worth far more than hundreds of regular coins. The beauty of coin collecting is that treasure can hide in plain sight. A tiny 1983 D dime, almost ignored, could be your next big find. It might be just a small piece of metal, but it could also be a piece of history worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. That's why it pays to look closely at the coins in your pocket or your old coin jars. You never know what hidden treasure might be waiting. The 1979 D dime is part of the Roosevelt dime series. These coins were first made in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. By 1979, all dimes were made of copper-nickel, not silver. They were common, meant for everyday use, and most people didn't think much about them. That year, the Denver Mint struck about 390 million dimes. Because so many were made, most 1979 D dimes in circulation are ordinary and worth only 10 cents. But here's the exciting part, not all 1979 D dimes are ordinary. Some survived in excellent condition, and some have special features collectors love. Coins that are uncirculated, meaning they were never used, scratched, or worn, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The sharper the detail, the more valuable the coin. One feature collectors look for is called full bands. On the back of the dime is a torch with horizontal bands. If the bands are fully visible and sharply struck, that dime is a full bands, FB, variety. Most 1979 D dimes were struck softly, so the lines on the torch are faint. Coins with full, crisp bands are rare, and rarity drives value. Some of these coins have sold for over $1,000 at auction. Even moderately good uncirculated coins can go for $8 to $40 or more. Rare errors can make a 1979 D dime even more valuable. Some coins were struck off-center, missing a mint mark, or have small flaws in the metal. These mistakes were accidental, but collectors love them because they are unique. An error coin in good condition could easily sell for hundreds of dollars or more. Of course, most 1979 D dimes you find will be worn, dull, or scratched. Those are only worth face value. But the few that survive decades in perfect condition are worth a lot. That's why coin collectors hunt through jars, rolls, and old collections. You never know when a hidden treasure might appear. Next time you see a 1979 D dime, don't just toss it in a jar. Look at it carefully. Check the torch on the back. Are the horizontal bands clear? Is the coin shiny and sharp? Is it free of scratches and wear? If yes, you might be holding a small piece of history that is worth far more than 10 cents. Even a small coin like this can be a big surprise. The 1979 D dime proves that ordinary coins can hide extraordinary value. That dime you almost overlooked could be a collector's dream, worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. All it takes is a sharp eye and a little curiosity to find treasure hiding in plain sight. The 1980 D dime is part of the Roosevelt Dime series, first issued in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. By 1980, all dimes were made of copper-nickel, not silver. They were common coins for everyday use, so most people didn't think twice about them. That year, the Denver Mint, the D on the coin, struck over 700 million dimes. Because of this, most 1980 D dimes are ordinary and worth only their face value, about 10 cents. But here's the twist, not all 1980 D dimes are ordinary. Some were struck perfectly and survived in pristine condition. These coins are highly sought after by collectors. If you have a 1980 D dime that looks almost new, with sharp edges, clear lettering, and no scratches, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Collectors especially look for a feature called full bands. On the back of the dime is a torch, and the torch has horizontal bands. Most 1980 D dimes were struck softly, so the bands are faint or incomplete. If the bands are fully visible and sharply detailed, the coin is called a full bands, FB, dime. These are rare and can sell for over $1,000, depending on condition. Even moderately good uncirculated coins can fetch $10 to $50 or more. Errors make certain 1980 D dimes even more valuable. Some coins were struck off-center, missing a mint mark, or have unusual metal flaws. These accidental errors are prized by collectors because they are unique. An error 1980 D dime in excellent condition could easily sell for hundreds of dollars or more. Most 1980 D dimes you find, however, will be worn and dull. These are usually worth only face value. But the few that survive decades in near-perfect condition are like hidden treasures. That's why coin collectors carefully search through old coin jars, rolls, and collections. You never know when a rare dime might appear. So next time you see a 1980 D dime, don't just toss it into a jar. Check it closely. Look at the torch on the back. Are the horizontal bands clear and sharp? Is the coin shiny with crisp details and no scratches? If yes, you might be holding a tiny piece of history with serious value. The 1980 D dime proves that even small, everyday coins can hide extraordinary value. A dime that seems ordinary could turn out to be a collector's dream, worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. All it takes is a little curiosity, a careful eye, and maybe a touch of luck to uncover treasure hiding in plain sight.